Welcome to our YouTube channel, Wild Guys. Today we will tell you about the top 10 dangerous animals that live in Africa. Before we start, please like the video. We are starting. The spotted hyena is a predatory mammal of the hyena family. It is the most common member of the crocuta species. They are also known as the laughing orderlies of the African expanses. These representatives of the fauna are famous for their bad temper. In the people, they are considered aggressive, cowardly animals that feed on carrion. Is it deserved a traveler with a lack of experience in Africa faces many dangers? They often attack in packs at night. Therefore, woe to that guest who did not make a fire and did not stock up on firewood for the whole night. It is believed that the ancestors of the spotted hyena budded from the true hyena, striped or brown, during the Pliocene era, 5.332 million to 1.806 million years ago. The spotted ancestors of hyenas, with developed social behavior, increased pressure from rivals forced them to learn to work in a team. They began to occupy larger territories. This is also due to the fact that migratory animals often became their prey. The evolution of the hyena's behavior was not without the influence of lions, their direct enemies. Practice has shown that it is easier to survive by forming prides, communities. This helped to more effectively hunt and defend their territories. As a result, their numbers have increased. According to the fossil record, the first species appeared in the Indian subcontinent. Spotted hyenas have colonized the Middle East. Since then, the habitat of the spotted hyena, like its appearance, has changed a bit. The length of the spotted hyena ranges from 90 to 170 centimeters, depending on sex, development, and age. Height 85 to 90 centimeters. The body of the hyena is covered with short coarse hair with undercoat. Long hair covers only the neck, giving the impression of a light mane. The body color is pale brown with a darkened muzzle, similar to a mask. The wool of the spotted hyena is covered with dark spots. In some individuals, it has a slightly reddish tint in the back of the head. The hyena has a sloping body with high shoulders and low hips. Their large, rounded body rests on comparatively thin, gray paws, each with 4 toes. The hind legs are slightly shorter than the front. Large round ears are set high on the head. Males also have a certain division according to similar characteristics. Dominant males have more access to females, but all as one bow to the women of the pack. In connection with such a tough state of affairs, some males often run across to other flocks for breeding. Different clans can wage wars against each other in the struggle for territory. Rivalry among spotted hyenas is expressed in a tough form. They behave differently with their own children. Cubs are born in a communal lair. Siblings of the same sex will fight for dominance, bite each other, and inflict sometimes fatal wounds. The winner will dominate the rest of the offspring until they die. Offspring of the opposite sex do not compete with each other. Family of reptiles. There are 3 species in Africa. The narrow-nosed crocodile is endemic to Africa. It lives in all major rivers of West Africa, Lake Tanganyika, and in the east of the mainland. Blunt, or dwarf, crocodile, in Central Africa. Nile crocodile, on the mainland and some islands. Crocodiles occupy a special position among modern reptiles, being closer relatives of the extinct dinosaurs, which survived almost 60 million years, and modern birds, than other reptiles of our time. A number of features of the organization of crocodiles, and first of all the perfection of the nervous, circulatory, and respiratory systems, allows us to consider them the most highly organized of all living reptiles. The evolution of crocodiles, starting from the appearance of this group about 150 million years ago, went in the direction of ever greater adaptation to the aquatic lifestyle and predation. The fact that crocodiles have survived to our time is often explained by their life in various freshwater bodies of the tropical and subtropical zones, that is, in places whose conditions have changed little since the appearance of crocodiles. The general body shape of a crocodile is lizard-like. They are characterized by a long, laterally compressed, high tail, membranes between the fingers of the hind limbs, a long muzzle, and a head flattened in the dorsal abdominal direction. There are 5 fingers on the forelimbs, 4 on the hind limbs. There is no little finger. The nostrils, located at the front end of the muzzle, and the eyes are raised and located on the upper side of the head, which allows crocodiles to stay in the water near its surface, exposing only their eyes and nostrils to the air. External auditory openings are closed with movable valves that protect the eardrums from mechanical damage when immersed in water. The body, tail, and limbs of crocodiles are covered with large, regular-shaped horny shields located on the back and abdomen in regular rows. In the inner layer of the skin, corium, under the horny scutes of the outer layer on the back and in some species on the belly, bone plates, osteoderms, develop that are firmly connected with the horny scutes, forming a shell that protects the body of the crocodile well. On the head, osteoderms fuse with the bones of the skull. Modern crocodiles inhabit various freshwater bodies. Relatively few species are tolerant of brackish water and are found in river estuaries. African narrow-nosed crocodile, Nile crocodile, American sharp-snouted crocodile. Only the combed crocodile swims far into the open sea and has been observed at a distance of 600 kilometers from the nearest shore. Most of the day crocodiles spend in the water. They go out to the coastal shallows in the morning and in the late afternoon to warm themselves in the sun. Crocodiles hunt at night. An essential component in the diet of all crocodiles is fish, but crocodiles devour any prey they can handle. Therefore, the set of food changes with age. Various invertebrates serve as food for the young: insects, crustaceans, mollusks, worms. Larger animals prey on fish. Amphibians, reptiles, and water birds. Adult crocodiles are able to cope with large mammals. There is a known case of finding the remains of a rhinoceros in the stomach of a Nile crocodile. In many species of crocodiles, cannibalism is noted, devouring larger individuals of smaller ones. Often crocodiles eat carrion. Some species hide the uneaten remains of the victim under the overhanging shore and later devour them half decomposed. Crocodiles move in water with the help of their tail. On land, crocodiles are slow and clumsy, but sometimes they make significant transitions, moving several kilometers away from water bodies. When moving quickly, crocodiles put their legs under the body, usually they are widely spaced, which rises high above the ground. Crocodiles live up to 80 to 100 years. Enemies in adult crocodiles are few, if we exclude humans. Cases of attacks by elephants and lions on crocodiles, making transitions by land from one reservoir to another, have been noted. Snakes themselves are rather unsightly creatures and few people like them by sight, and even more so by touch. It is unlikely that a meeting with a snake in some forest will cause any positive emotions for a large number of people, but do not forget that snakes are of different sizes, and if in our forests you rarely meet someone larger than a snake or viper, then when traveling where someday in the tropics, we run the risk of stumbling upon a specimen that is completely unusual for our eyes, an anaconda. The largest snake in the world actually lives in rather hard-to-reach places, especially for ordinary tourists, but still we will introduce you to this amazing creeping giant. So, let's start with the most interesting. The largest snake usually reaches 5 to 6 meters in length, but sometimes there are also 9-meter specimens. The longest snake caught was a giant anaconda 11.43 meters long. And although it was not possible to save this individual, its length was reliably documented. At the moment, the 9-meter anaconda, contained in the New York Zoological Society, is considered the longest. You can identify the anaconda not only by its huge size, but also by its characteristic grayish-green color with 2 rows of round and oblong brown spots on the back and yellow spots in black edging on the sides. This is an almost perfect disguise for a snake that is used to watching for its victims, sitting in water covered with leaves and algae. Due to the inaccessibility of anaconda habitats, there are no objective data on the size of their population yet. Basically, these giant snakes live in the quiet backwaters of the Amazon and Orinoco, only occasionally crawling ashore to bask in the sun. In the old literature, one could often come across the name, water boa, because this is really one of the subspecies of boas, and spends most of its life in the water, but still this subspecies has its own name, the giant anaconda. If the reservoir in which the anaconda lives dries up and there are no other creeks nearby, the snake burrows into the silt and falls into a kind of hibernation until the rainy season begins. The largest snake in the world cannot live and hunt normally outside of water. Even the old skin of the anaconda is shed, without leaving the house. They rub against the river bottom, gradually pulling off the old cover. Just like other boas, the anaconda is not poisonous, and pacifies its victims with close hugs and subsequent squeezing, from which it is almost impossible for an animal to get rid of, and person still has, albeit meager, but chance to catch the snake's tail and not give him to wrap himself around himself. That's what trainers do in the circus. Although such a trick is unlikely to help with the anaconda, because it is incomparably larger than any circus boa constrictor. By the way, female anacondas are much larger and stronger than males. There is an erroneous opinion that the largest snake in the world flattens its victims, breaking bones and damaging internal organs. This is not true. The hugs of the anaconda are not aimed at breaking and crippling their riding. It is enough that the victim completely blocks the access of oxygen by immobilizing the chest and the whole body, so that all animals caught by the anaconda die from suffocation. An adult anaconda in the wild is practically not threatened by anything. Only a few jaguars and caimans can cope with it, but this happens very rarely. Young individuals die en masse from the teeth of a variety of predators. The largest snake in the world is often mentioned in many books and even became the main negative character of a whole series of Hollywood thrillers of the same name. The African lion, Panthera leo, is a predator of the panther genus, belongs to the cat family, is considered the largest cat in the world. In the 19th and 20th centuries, the number of this species declined sharply due to human activities. Having no direct enemies in their own habitat, lions are constantly destroyed by poachers and safari lovers. If it is quite difficult to distinguish between representatives of different sexes in other mammals, then in lions gender differences are visible to the naked eye. The male is distinguished from the female not only by the size of the body, but also by the huge mane around the head. African lions are considered heavyweights among cats. The weight of males can reach 250 kilograms, and the body length can be up to 4 meters including the tail and up to 3 meters without it. Smaller cats, they weigh up to 180 kilograms, and the body length does not exceed 3 meters. The body of this king of animals is strong and dense with powerful muscles rolling under the skin. The color of the short, thick coat is most often sandy yellow or cream. Adult lions on their heads wear a luxurious mane of a darker, reddish color with black marks. It descends from the crown and covers part of the back and chest. The older the male, the thicker his hairline. Little cubs boys do not have such decoration at all. The ears of African lions are small and rounded. Before puberty, kittens have light dots in the auricle. The tail is long and smooth-haired. Only at its very end there is a fluffy brush. In ancient times, lions could be found on all continents of the globe. At this time, only some regions can boast of having this formidable handsome man. If earlier African lions were distributed throughout the African continent and even Asia, now Asians are found only in Indian Gujarat, where the climate and vegetation are suitable for them. Their number does not exceed 523 individuals. Africans remained only in Burkina Faso and the Congo. There are no more than 2,000 of them. From representatives of other cat species, lions are distinguished by their clan structure. They live in exceptionally large families, prides consisting of several dozen individuals, in which 1 or 2 males play a dominant role. All other inhabitants of the family are females and cubs. The strong half of the pride plays the role of defenders. They drive away other males from their clan who have not yet had time to acquire their own harem. The struggle is ongoing. Weaker males or youngsters never give up trying to recapture other people's wives. Each pride is assigned a certain territory, with a length of several square kilometers. Every evening, the ringleader notifies the neighbors about the presence of the owner in this area with a loud roar, which is heard at a distance of up to 8 to 9 kilometers. When young lion cubs grow up and do not need additional care, at about 3 years old, their fathers kick them out of the clan. They must leave not only their family, but the entire territory for hunting. Lionesses always stay with their relatives and are protected by the stronger sex as the greatest value. The average life expectancy of African lions in the natural environment is up to 15 to 17 years. In captivity, it can last up to 30.